So a couple of months ago, The Last Jedi hit theaters, and oh boy was that movie met with some crazy polarized opinions. And if it's any indication by my set, I really love Star Wars. So I thought now would be a good time to make a list of my favorite Star Wars movies. But before I start, I just have to say that Star Wars is one of my all-time favorite movie franchises, and all of these movies are some of my favorite movies of all time. Mostly. Oh, and just a warning, there's going to be spoilers for all the Star Wars movies in here, so just warning ya. All Star Wars movies, ranked. Kicking off the list, we've got the Star Wars Holiday Special. Now, I know what you're thinking. How the heck could the Star Wars Holiday Special be the worst movie on this list? It's my favorite Star Wars movie of all time. It's just so perfect. Wait, no. No, if you're thinking that, you probably have mental issues and you need to get yourself some help. So if you haven't seen the Star Wars Holiday Special, or you don't even know what it is, well, let me tell ya. So in 1978, after the huge success that was Star Wars, in order to keep fans interested in the franchise before Empire, the Star Wars Holiday Special was released as a TV movie. And it was, well, bad. That's really the only way to describe it. In fact, the Star Wars Holiday Special is the reason for the mostly when I said these are my favorite movies. The Star Wars Holiday Special is actually the only one that I don't like. If you're interested, I'll put a link to it down in the description, as well as another video that goes into more detail about it. But just don't watch it. The movie, that is. The other video is great, though. So, Attack of the Clones is a movie. It's got some really great scenes, like the Battle of Geonosis and the arena scene. I personally think it's really cool watching all the Jedi fight together. I also really like the way this movie sets up Boba Fett. Seeing him as a kid watch his father get killed by a Jedi really helped me to understand and feel for him as a character. But by far, the best part of this movie is when Anakin goes to find his mother and she dies in his arms. This moment is so powerful, and it's the first time in the prequels that we really get to see Darth Vader as he goes and kills all the Sand People, and as he says himself, not just the men, but the women and children as well. This moment, however, as well as the other great parts of the movie, just seem to kind of get glossed over and drowned out by the romance of Anakin and Padme. But my biggest gripe with this movie is that it doesn't really feel like there's an overall story to it. Any Star Wars movie should be able to be watched and be satisfying, as well as fitting into its respective trilogy. Attack of the Clones just never really did that for me. Without watching episodes 1 and 3, or at least just 3, along with it, it doesn't really make much sense. Yes, they fight Count Dooku, but he's not really defeated until the first of 3, and it just doesn't work. Now moving on. Wait, I didn't even mention Yoda. He throws his lightsaber. He's cool. Now this is where most people are really going to start to disagree with me, because at number 8 I have Star Wars or A New Hope. And don't get me wrong, I love A New Hope, and I think it's a great story, but I've just always found it a little slow. I can totally see why when this movie was originally released, it was met with such praise. It was amazing for the times, but in my opinion, it just hasn't withstood the test of time. Okay, so starting with the bad, my first big complaint with A New Hope is that about 30 minutes in, Obi-Wan gives Luke a lightsaber, but then he doesn't really use it the rest of the movie. I mean, he used it the one time to block the few blasties from the ball droid thing, but he never actually fights with it. And if A New Hope was really gonna be a standalone movie, that's really disappointing. That you see the main character get a lightsaber, but he doesn't even flip and use it! And while I'm on the topic of lightsabers, the Obi-Wan Vader lightsaber battle definitely leaves something to be desired. Now I understand that this was the first lightsaber battle that ever existed, and they didn't have the technology or stuff, and they didn't know the limits they could really push with the lightsaber battles, but for me that's just a stupid excuse. If I'm comparing whether or not I like it, I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, it's so good because it started what was great. No, I like other ones more because they're better, not because that one came first. But for me, this battle has just always been kind of boring. And finally, I never really liked the final battle of this movie. The idea of taking down the Death Star is great, but all the rebels hopping in their X-Wings and going down to actually fight never really captivated me. Watching it, I just never felt like there was really that much of a threat. Yeah, the Death Star is orbiting the planet and it's going to blow up the moon with the Rebel base. But, I mean, all the pilots go off and fight and most of them die and nobody seems to care. I mean, what the heck? When Biggs dies, Luke doesn't even so much as frown. What? Blah! On the other hand, A New Hope has a pretty good plot and some great characters. Darth Vader is a wonderful villain, and by the end of the movie, Luke believes that he killed both his father and Obi-Wan. And, of course, when it came out in 1977, it was a true masterpiece, but I believe it's a bit slow for the modern age, and it has definitely been surpassed by a number of its sequels. Next up on my list, I have The Phantom Menace. In my opinion, The Phantom Menace is a dang good movie. The final battle with Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Darth Maul is one of the best lightsaber battles in the whole Star Wars saga. Qui-Gon's death is so powerful as you see Obi-Wan trapped behind the laser wall as he just watches his master be murdered by Darth Maul. And just the music is so amazing during this battle. If you hate the movie, you can't deny that the music in this scene is amazing. And the pod race scene is another great part of the movie. But hands down, you have to admit that the best part of this movie is Jar Jar Binks. To be honest, I've actually always really liked Jar Jar, and I just don't understand why people hate him so much. For me, he honestly is one of the best parts of that movie. He's funny, he makes me laugh. Or maybe I just relate to the clumsy buffoon. And now, just warning you, you might want to brace yourself, because at number 6, I put The Empire Strikes Back. Wait, before you just take off and close the page and unsubscribe and like and whatever the heck other buttons you're clicking, just hear me out for a second, okay? First off, I was not afforded the luxury of the Vader reveal. I'm pretty sure I knew Vader was Luke's father before I even ever saw a Star Wars movie all the way through. Heck, I knew he was Luke's father before I knew who Luke was. So, I guess for me personally, the biggest reveal in cinematic history just carries no weight. It wasn't a reveal! Beyond that, Empire is a wonderful movie. It hits some really high points, like the AT-ATs and the Luke and Vader battle. And in the end, there's not really anything negative I can say about Empire. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I did some of the other movies. Sorry. Coming in at number 5, I have Rogue One. Now, this was probably the hardest movie on this list for me to place. So after I first saw it in theaters, I didn't really like it that much. The first was confusing. I didn't really understand what was going on, and it was just kind of hard to piece together. But after seeing it a few more times, I really, really love it. I finally made sense of the first 30 minutes, and I can actually mostly tell you what happens for that part. The final act of this movie is just so amazing. Seeing all the rebels race to get the planets on Scarif is just... oh, it's so good. From the epic space battle to Jin, Cassian, and K-Twisto sneaking into the tower to get the plans, to everyone being picked off one by one, to Vader, Rogue One sure has an epic conclusion. I really love some of the characters in this movie as well. Shrew is definitely one of my favorite Star Wars characters now. Maybe that wasn't the best idea. But anyway, on the negative side, the first hour-ish can be a bit confusing and can require multiple viewings in order to really understand what the heck is going on, which is not a good thing. You really just should be able to watch a movie once and understand it. I mean, blah. Also, you never get as much time as I would like to with some of the characters, because, I mean, obviously, they all die, and they only really get one movie, so Yeah, but of course, with the way Disney has been producing these Star Wars movies, if they continue like this, it will definitely not surprise me if we see a Shroot and Baze movie or something like that somewhere down the line. And also, why don't more people just have machine gun blasters? That thing was awesome. So at number 4, I have Return of the Jedi. Before The Force Awakens came out, if you had asked me what my favorite Star Wars movie was, I would have just straight up, yeah, it's Return of the Jedi. It's the best one. Over the past few years, however, it has moved down a little bit on my list, but it's still definitely one of my favorite ones, and it's really, it's good. Yeah. The final battle in space, as well as with Luke and Vader and the Emperor Palpatine, Sidious, I don't know. What do you call him when you're talking about the movie? I'm gonna go with the Emperor. So the final battle with Luke, Vader, and the Emperor, as well as in space, is really great. I love to see how the Emperor uses some of the same tactics on Luke that he used to turn Anakin to the dark side. And the Ewoks! I love the Ewoks! I don't care if the reason they existed or were made is to sell toys. I mean, should that matter? They're cute and cuddly and they're Ewoks! At number 3, I have Revenge of the Sith. I was just totally blown away and really surprised when I found out that the prequels were not loved by critics and fans and people. That a lot of people don't like them. Not saying that they're bad movies, but it seems to be the general consensus is they're not great. I think that the first Star Wars movie I ever actually watched the whole thing of was probably Attack of the Clones. I love it and the Phantom Menace, and they're some of my lesser favorite Star Wars movies, but those ones are amazing and set up so greatly for Revenge of the Sith. I think that the three of them together make the perfect story of how Anakin became Vader, from seeing his mother killed and then his anger coming out for the first time, and then in Revenge of the Sith he's just trying to save Padme, and the dark side is the way that he thinks he can save her. And you really get to understand him, and you're like, wow, that's why he did that. Oh, it makes sense. And then the Anakin and Obi-Wan battle at the end is, I think it's just so well choreographed, and it's fun to watch, and the music just tops it off. It is a really great battle, in my opinion. I also really love Grievous and the threat of Order 66, and I think all these elements just come so nicely together to form a very enjoyable and touching story. Now, coming in at number 2, I've got The Last Jedi. So just another warning, there is going to be spoilers for The Last Jedi, and if you have not seen it, you do not want the movie spoiled. I repeat, you do not want the movie spoiled. Go watch it right now, come back, and then watch this. Or if you just want to skip this part, this number 2, I'll put the time somewhere. I don't know, I'll figure it out. There'll be a time, skip to that time if you don't want to see this, okay? Okay, so hopefully you're gone. Okay, so if you're here, hopefully you've seen it, and okay. So for me, The Last Jedi was just amazing. Leading up to it, I tried to avoid trailers, so going in, I didn't really know what to expect. But from start to finish, I just had a huge smile on my face. It was just a good time. So where to start? I guess I'll start with talking about what I didn't like about the movie. So my biggest complaint with The Last Jedi was really just that it didn't have Jar Jar in it. I mean, Disney, what the heck? Way to ruin this saga. But seriously, I don't have any major complaints with The Last Jedi. I thought that the whole thing was really good. I like that Leia can use the Force. It makes sense. And the casino scene never bothered me either. I think it's good eye candy and it's fun to look at. I thought that the Finn and Rose side quest, whatever, was an interesting story. In the end, yes, it didn't affect anything, but that doesn't mean it wasn't enjoyable to watch. Maybe down the line I will have more complaints about the movie, but for now I just really enjoy it. So now that I got the complaints out of the way, let's talk about what I really liked about the movie. So my favorite scene in the movie was with Kylo and Rey and Snoke, when Kylo killed Snoke, and then it goes to this amazing battle. There's definitely what's got to be my new favorite battle in Star Wars, when Rey and Kylo go back to back and they fight off all the red. Okay, sorry if the camera angle changed right there. The camera stopped recording. I don't know if I got it set up right again. Okay, I hope the camera angle's right. My camera decided to stop recording. It got full after recording for 45 minutes, and so I had to transfer the files over my computer and stuff, so I hope that I got the angle good. Hopefully. I tried to get it as best I could. The same as that? I don't know. Okay. Whatever. So, I was saying, okay. I really liked the scene with Snoke when Kylo Ren, okay, and Rey. So when Kylo Ren turned the lightsaber and killed Snoke, that scene was so powerful to me. I wanted to just, yes! That's great. Okay. I was hoping that would happen, and then Kylo and Rey go back to back and fight the red guys, and thumbs up. Okay. So that fight scene is really the first time that we get to see Kylo Ren's full potential, because when he fought Rey in The Force Awakens, he was wounded because he had just been shot by Chewie, so he wasn't as powerful as he could be. So I really like to see him being able to go toe-to-toe with the guards. I don't remember what they're called. And you can see Rey is having trouble taking down one, but then he's taking on three just fine. And it's a good scene. Okay, let's pass that. I'm past that now. Okay. So and then the final battle on Crate is just also, it's good. I was directing and in charge of it. I would have had Finn kamikaze the laser cannon thing, but I'm not sad that he's alive or anything. But and then speaking of kamikaze, that kamikaze scene with Holdo was, that was beautiful. Okay, back to Crate. When Luke shows up, that is awesome, and he fights Kylo Ren, just dodges and also amazing. And then Rey saves them, and they take off, and yes, so that's all those reasons. That's why I had to put The Last Jedi at number 2. And finally, my favorite Star Wars movie is The Force Awakens. For me, The Force Awakens just really did everything right. It did such a great job at introducing Rey, Finn, and Poe Dameron as the new trio, as well as bringing back the old trio in fun and interesting ways. And Rey is just such a great antagonist. I really love the scene when Finn sees her being chased and starts to go to try and save her, but then before he can get over there, she just takes out the guys, and he's like, "Oh!" And this movie made me laugh, and it's really enjoyable for me. And then Finn, I mean, how can you not love Finn? He's the defected stormtrooper who's trying to do the right thing, but really can't. I mean, he's helpless. He can't do anything for himself. He's just, you have to laugh at him. Does he do anything to help that movie? Not really. Kylo Ren is just so good in this movie. I love his introduction, and you can really see the anger that he has bottled up inside of him. And then that scene on the bridge where he kills Han Solo is powerful, although, well, it was predictable, but it had such emotion, and it was really enjoyable for me. And I really like, so, Kylo Ren, at the start of the movie, you have no idea who he is. He's this new, powerful guy. He stops the blaster. That's crazy. And then you find out that he is the son of Han and Leia, and he's my favorite villain. And a lot of people will complain that The Force Awakens is just a rehashing or a reboot or a soft reboot or a retelling of A New Hope. In a way, it's too much similar. But I have to disagree with you that, I mean, there's the mentor dies at the end, he's killed, and they're blowing up the spherical enemy base. And I mean, there's smaller points, but the movies feel so different to me that I wouldn't even call them, like, I mean, they are similar, but I don't know. I guess that's just never a problem for me. Why I love that movie. It's just so good. It's got a great villain, great characters, and the pacing is great. The action is awesome. It's got emotion and blah, 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 blah. I love The Force Awakens. So what do you think of my list? I mean, half of you, or most of you, or I don't know, probably hated it because I put this here and this here, and yeah. And also let me know what you thought of this video. I did it quite a bit differently than my other videos. I'm trying to have more fun, and it's a little bit less scripted, and I'm not taking out as much. I mess up, and I'm leaving it in there. And so if you like the videos like this, let me know. And also this is the first. See, there was a mess up, and I'm just talking. And okay, and also this is the first video that I've done that's a list. So if you want to see more top 10 videos or my favorite videos, let me know. And of course, put your favorite Star Wars movies, your list. Put your list of Star Wars movies down in the comments. And I hope to see you next time. And of course, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next time. Bye! Oh, wait. Oh, awesome. I know I didn't include the animated movie or the 2 Ewok movies, and that is because I have not seen them.